Hello and welcome today to another Ball State University Psychological Science faculty interview. Today we'll be talking to Dr. Anjolii Diaz, who is an assistant professor in the Department of Psychological Science at Ball State University, where she's been a faculty member since 2015. She earned her PhD in Developmental and Biological Psychology from Virginia Tech in 2012. Dr. Diaz's research focuses on developmental psychology, particularly the intersection of temperament, emotion regulation, effortful control, and cognitive development in children. She has examined how factors such as sleep, self-regulation, and social environments contribute to the academic and emotional outcomes of these children. Her work has been widely published in peer-reviewed journals including Cognitive Development, the Journal of Personality, and Early Education and Development. In addition to her research, she also serves on many thesis and dissertation committees, guiding students through their academic journeys. Her contributions to the field extend beyond Ball State through her service as an editorial board member and ad hoc reviewer for several psychology journals. And without further ado, please enjoy our interview with Dr. Anjolii Diaz.
Dr. Anjolii Diaz. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Psychological Science, and I'm also the director of graduate studies for the department. I was born in Puerto Rico. I lived there until about, I believe, like halfway third grade. That's when I moved to Brooklyn, New York. And then I was there for a couple of years until we moved to Milford, Pennsylvania. That's Northeast Pennsylvania, for the sixth grade. So my middle school and high school was in Pennsylvania. And I did my undergrad at Penn State. Moved on to do my master's and PhD at Virginia Tech, and then a postdoc at Arizona State University. And then I got a job here at Ball State. Well, I didn't start off thinking that I wanted to be a college professor. I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was really fascinated with different cultures, thinking about like Roman mythology and Egypt. But then I decided that I wanted to be a flight attendant. And then I decided I wanted to be a surgeon, and then a lawyer, and then an engineer. So it really started to change. To be honest, I didn't declare major in college until the end of my sophomore year. And that's after doing a lot of soul searching and also talking a lot to faculty and asking about their experiences. And I realized that I was really interested in human behavior, why they do the things that they do, but also the physiological neural aspect of behavior as well. So that's end of sophomore year, I declared an interest in psychology with the neuroscience concentration. After getting a lot of different research experiences at Penn State, I wanted a program that would allow me to further investigate the mind and the body. So I looked at a lot of different programs, and the one at Virginia Tech really attracted me. So I actually got my master's and PhD in developmental and biological psychology. And I was really attracted to that program because the focus was on, typical development and how early experiences, early development is crucial for understanding later development and later behavior. And the incorporation of physiological measures such as EEG was really intriguing. So that led me to investigate that program and read more about some of the work that was being done, particularly the work that Dr. Martha Ann Bell was delving into, and I was really interested in it. She focused more on the cognitive side, and I thought that I could bring in that emotional component, as I'm a strong believer of the interconnections between cognition and emotion. Yeah. So applying to tenure positions is a feat in itself. I was very fortunate. I got a lot of different interviews. So I was able to go to different universities and look to see if I would be able to get what I was wanting, that good balance between being able to do my research but also teach. So I was focusing more so on our two institutions like Ball State. And Ball State actually had an EEG lab already that I could add to and join and become part of, as well as a lot of additional resources to do research. So those kind of sealed the deal for me. That first year, oh my goodness, it's something, to be a junior faculty and trying to set up your lab, thinking that you have laid out this great timeline and everything should follow that timeline, and in reality, nothing ever does. So it was a rude awakening that my projected timelines for things didn't quite work out, but I was able to get my lab up and going and get some funding. Got graduate students and undergraduate students in the lab to help develop different research projects and create the PACE lab. Learning the ins and outs of a department. So it's not just, developing your lab and what's your research program going to be, but it's the teaching aspect. If you were, not doing a lot of teaching in your previous institution or hadn't prep a certain class, that was completely brand new. Mm-hmm. And for 2 years, since I was doing that postdoc, I wasn't doing any teaching. So getting back into teaching it took a lot of time because, you want to make your lectures and your in-class activities engaging to students. And there's a lot of trial and error that happens. What a great question. It really depends, because I feel that my research has evolved across time. My early research was very heavy on cognitive emotion and physio. And then with my postdoc, I was really focusing on this, concept of sleep and how, sleep differs across different homes and how that affects social and academic competence. And then coming here to Ball State and trying to put all these kind of like pieces together, and then getting tenure and being able to say, well, this is something new, something novel. I don't know if I can get it funded, but it's something that is interesting to me, that I can now follow more so than before. So it's hard just to say one in particular. But I'm very proud that I was able to get this NIH supplemental grant at Arizona State to fund my postdoc and do a study there. So, and moreover, I was able to focus more on some of my students' research interest. For instance, last year, I had a student who was interested in in esports and sports. And so we combined both of our interest in sleep and motivation and emotion to do a study. And if you would have asked me, 2, 5, 10 years ago, if I would ever do a study on esports and traditional sports, I'd be like, no, I'm not interested in that. But it actually fit really well in what we were doing in the lab. Yeah, so I have both undergraduate and graduate students in the lab. I focus with my undergrads just giving them more experience doing research. Maybe we're working on an independent project. Maybe we're working on an honors thesis together, and giving them opportunities to present. So for instance, this semester I have an honor student who's going to go to MPA and present their work. I think it's just giving them experiences, whether it's, taking the lead in an article discussion in one of our labs, or getting trained in how to edit actigraphy data or EEG data. Those experiences that I think are really important for undergrads to have. My graduate students are heavily incorporated in my lab, as I want them to spearhead a project so that they can have a potential first authored project. Things that are going to benefit them, particularly if they're interested in pursuing further education. But even if they're not, but just have that leadership and also the ability to get a important point across, both orally and in written formats. Yeah, motivation is something that isn't always stagnant. It's going to go up and down. And it's just identifying those things that are intrinsically meaningful to you. And if you're finding it difficult, finding those external motivators as well. What keeps me going is hearing from students, particularly students from the past that email me or come up to me and be like, you really made a difference. You made an impact. That's quite motivating. And just the opportunity to be a mentor towards somebody, because I know that I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for my mentors. And I kind of want to give back, what I was given, those opportunities to others. And that makes it all worthwhile to me. I see a lot of interdisciplinary work, more so than when I first started, which is exciting. Is this idea that psychology is everywhere and in everything. So a lot of change there. A lot of advances in technology, particularly when we're talking about understanding the brain, for instance. More updated ways and more targeted ways to see how the brain is functioning. Seen a lot of changes there. And I see a lot of change also in the horizon for graduate education too, right? Looking at, the practicing aspect of it, but also the needed research aspect of it, which is also important to help serve as the basis for then what is applied in those, therapy and in practice. Definitely we're seeing an increased need for psychological research and psychological and mental health practice. So now more than ever, it's not surprising why we're the second or third largest major in Ball State, depending on the year, right? You know, it's difficult, especially right now, to answer that question, since a lot of the research that is needed is based on federal funding, and we don't know where and if federal funding and for what federal funding is going to be cut. So it's hard to say how it's going to change, in what direction psychology is going to go now that the resources needed to engage in research are going to be depleted. One of the things I remember, I think bringing up it was either in 590 or 692. It's just, the realization that tenured positions are difficult to get. There are few of them in comparison to non-tenured positions. So that realization of the competitiveness of it, so that how important it is if you're seeing yourself going in academia to make sure that they are involved in all different types of opportunities and what opportunities are present there, to just make their CV and their experiences more diversified, to be more competitive for those positions. Well, outside of the department, so besides my job as an associate professor, besides being the job of a director of two graduate programs, I'm also a mom and a wife. So I enjoy spending time with my family. Just last weekend, we went to the Children's Museum because both my husband and I love museums. So we're trying to, show Taya how much fun they are, so she can join us as she gets older, to different museums. I enjoy going to see shows and movies. I love ceramics. Unfortunately, it's been a while since I've been able to get into a studio and do ceramics, but I find that very relaxing. What else do I like? Horror movies. I love horror movies. Even if they're like really bad, deep budget, I'll still kind of watch them. I also like those crime series, I love to eat. I'm a big foodie. I like to try a lot of different foods and try different restaurants. Yeah, that's pretty much
That sums it up.
I do. I just think that just more opportunities for students, to give them what they need in order for them to pursue and attain their goals. That's my motivator, and that's always what I want. Just those the resources to be able to give students what they need to achieve their goals.
Thank you for watching our faculty interview with Dr. Anjolii Diaz. We hope that you've enjoyed your time today and have been inspired to do your own research into the wonderful work being done by the Ball State University Department of Psychological Science faculty members. Thank you so much again for watching.